Yo, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kamga, and today's video is going to be a reaction to this one, which is you Japa'd because of your children, prepare to Japada because of them. I thought this title was funny. I don't know what the video is about. Well, I think I sort of do. So, I think it's a Nigerian term. Japa means to leave the country. And this is a summary. I don't know what the reason you're leaving the country for. I don't know if the reason attached to the word, but it's the idea that you are escaping. You're going somewhere better, like greener pastures. So you Japa because of your children. So if you left the country thinking that you were helping your children, thinking that you were doing your children a favor, and be prepared to Japada. I don't know what Japada means. So we're going to find out. All right. The video's had about 67,000 views about just 4 days ago. Last time I saw it, it was actually less than that. So it's actually been growing pretty, got a few thousand views. Picking up. So let's get to it.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. So today I just quickly want to touch on a topic that is kind of I would say dear to my heart. So this is just one of the things that I nurse in my heart, or I always nurse in my mind as a parent in diaspora. You know how parents will say, parents who are normal in Nigeria, how they will say, I am relocating abroad because of my children. Because in my own case, I relocated because of my children. And I always say to myself, oh, I want to give my children better opportunities. I want them to have better lives. I want them to be able to go to the best schools. And it wasn't as though we were like super duper rich, but I just wanted the best for my kids. And one of the main reasons we left Nigeria. So basically, we jackpot because of the children. And like I said in my previous video, we came with 2 children. What I've noticed, what I've learned over the years is the importance of having that plan, that exit plan, should things go south.
So the previous video I just did, it was Lulu Diaries feeling like a failure. She was feeling like a failure because she spent all these years in the UK and she feels like a loser. Sorry. You can go and watch it. I'm going to put a link somewhere up here so you can watch it. But one of the things that kept coming up over and over in that video that I was saying was you need to have a plan. If you're going to stay somewhere, know how long you're going to stay there. If you're going to leave, know when you're going to leave and start planning. So off the bat, I already like this video. I already like the video, all right? So let's continue.
Now let me
again, this is a reaction video. I'm going to be doing this a lot. I'm going to put the link to the original video. You can go and watch it. Please go and watch it. Give a like and follow to this awesome creator. I cannot just let the video play because it's not my video. All right. Now that I've said that, let's play the video.
explain what I mean by that. You know how people always have a backpack somewhere, like an emergency pack, to say, okay, if there is say maybe like an outbreak of, like a disease like COVID, for example, like the go-to bag, that like your emergency grab bag, that okay, if I need to relocate or move, or emergency fund, emergency, how people put things aside for emergency things. Yeah, that's the kind of plan you need to have to be able to Japada, that's run back to your country if you start to see certain signs with your children, especially when you have teenage children. You see, when the children are young, or when my own children were young, I use myself as an example. I just, we lived in a neighborhood that was okay in London, because those neighborhoods, a couple of neighborhoods that we lived in then, I didn't really mind because my children were small, so the nursery schools were okay. Even though we were hearing things then, happening to teenagers, and things that were, crimes that young people were engaging in, and all those kind of things that you would hear and will make your skin crawl, that will make make you really scared. I didn't really bother about them too much at that time because my children were young. So we just went on our lives normal. But as I started to grow up, I started nursing those thoughts little by little by little. And a lot of parents need to pay attention to those kind of things. I knew within myself that once the children get to a certain age, we'll have to leave that neighborhood. That's my own. And that's me paying attention to those things, because You hear, oh, this is happening to that person, this one is how, and you know what's happening in, black communities. You know how, how these things, uh, you know how dangerous it can become when they turn on themselves and they start fighting and how brutal it gets. So I always knew that when the children get to a certain age, I am moving to a different place where there is low risk. I don't mind if, you know, I'll have to be one of the very little minority in that place. I don't mind. I don't mind. As long as they have peace and my children are safe, I am prepared to move.
You see the things parents do for kids, man. Like you just hear somebody basically describing, you know what? It doesn't matter what happens to me. It doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't matter how I feel. Insofar as it will keep my children safe, I will do it. That is that for me is the kind of spirit that drives people to raise good families if you're willing to do what it takes. Now, I saw this comedian a couple of days ago, and I feel very very inspired to share it. Um, his name is Ronnie Cheng. He did a special on Netflix called Love It or Hate It, and in it he does this bit about, I think it's great, but you should watch it if you haven't, about math and about people. And he ends the bit by saying, "Yeah, if you love your country so much, that you love your country so much that you're willing to die for it, why can't you not love your country so much that you're willing to learn for it?" So yeah, math is hard, dying is easy. He says it, he does it great. And I think that, and this is my personal opinion, and it's not to this lady, I'm just thinking about parents in general, all right? Parents in general. I think that many parents are so willing to do the hard things for their children that they are not willing to do the things that are hard for those children. They're willing to sacrifice a lot, go in pain, but they're not willing to do that diligent, slow, grinding work that requires you to become a better parent so you can parent your kids better. But that's another conversation.
But some parents will always ignore these signs, and that's what pains me. Sometimes, I'm not saying that it's all situations, because I know some people, they paid attention, they did everything they could, and whatever happened still happened. But in most cases, you hear some scenarios that, it will just make you disappointed in some parents. I know your abroad is hard, and that's why we are saying that once you have gotten what you are looking for, seek rest. Some people cannot even rest. Some people cannot even rest. Like, they walk around the clock. That's why you hear people, dropping here, dropping there. Some people cannot even rest. So if you know that, you brought your children here so that they can have good life, so that you can have peace of mind, and running away from that same Nigeria that you people are saying that is so so terrible. You didn't bring them here for them to come and lose them to the system, number one, or to come and let them end up in prison, number two, or to even let them end up dead. You didn't bring your children to go through these things. You brought your children so that they can have good lives. Then you need to pay close attention to them, especially when they become teenagers.
Yes.
So you see those children that you will hear stories of children sneaking out of their homes at night, and the parents will not even know that they are gone. And before morning, they are back. Why? Because mommy has gone to do night shift, and daddy has gone to do long day. And daddy that went to do long day came back and is so tired that he doesn't even hear param when anybody is opening window or opening the door. And the mother has gone out, and the children will be there roaming the streets. They will be there going from place to place, doing all sorts of things, and you, the parents, will not know. So some parents, in their own cases, they are working so hard around the clock to be sending money. There's nothing wrong with sending money to your families and sending money to parents will work to the point that they do not have time for those children. You ignore them or you neglect them to the point that you'll be seeing warning signs like this before you that things are not going on right. You are seeing warning signs that they are associating with bad, group of people. You are seeing warning signs that they are starting to be disrespectful. You will see the signs now. There's no way you will not see it.
Parenting in Europe, in America, in fact, parenting in 2025, I think just from my observation is tough. But in a country like the UK or the US, it's very different. Like in the previous video, Lulu was talking about how the government would even intervene in the way that you raise your children. And it's tough, man. It's tough. I keep saying this because it's easy for me to watch and say, oh, you should do this, you should get better at this, deal with your trauma, learn this, all that. I can say all that stuff now. But from what I've seen, and I'm yet to find out how true that is in my own experience, what I've seen is that children can be difficult to raise. And I think it makes sense. There's almost no school to teach you how to raise children. But also, most importantly, the support system, the society, the village. They say it takes a village to raise a child. The village that raised the African child is no longer here. The village that people could depend on is not here. Here, it's husband, wife. Both are working to maintain the basic standard of living. We'll talk about inflation and a lot of other things down the road, but I can understand what this is like. And when you're tired, how do you see those signs? How do you pay attention to this child who's coming and is acting different from the way that you met them a few months ago? Your baby is now looking funny. Funny smells in the house, funny looks, funny behaviors. You don't have the patience. You're trying to figure out when you have to go to your next shift. Are you going to pay your mortgage? The school is asking for this for the children. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
See, a child that's very respectful before is now looking you in the eye and talking to you anyhow. I said it in one of my previous videos that my children, they have confidence. That's what this culture teaches you, which is good. Confidence. Everybody picks it up when you come here. If somebody had told me that I'll be doing YouTube, I was very shy, I'm a very quiet, normal, I just face my own, go my own. I don't talk much. But over the years of being here, I found that confidence, even myself, because you need that confidence to be able to practice in the kind of profession that I'm practicing in. For example, you have to speak to families, you have to speak to people of other fields, other professions. You have to present yourself like you know what you're talking about. You don't want to look, so you have to be confident and maintain eye contact and all those timidity and all those things that our culture teaches us in Nigeria, to be very respectful. You can't look an adult in the eye, all those things. Those ones are, those are not the things that they do here. Those are one of the downside of Nigeria, even though we say we want our children to be respectful. But here they will teach you to be able to maintain eye contact, to be able to speak up, which is good. But the bad side, and somebody was coming for me and telling me something on the comment section. The bad side of that is the children can then become overconfident in the sense that when you talk, they will look you in the eye like this and talk back. A 3-year-old, we ask you, if you tell them to do something, they will look at you and tell you why. Why will I do it? You have to give her an explanation. No? You have to explain why she needs to listen to you, why she needs to do what you've just told her to do. A 3-year-old will ask you why.
See, unless you've grown on the African continent to a certain age, I don't think you can understand how funny this actually is. Unless you know exactly what it's like. Unless you've had parents where you cannot. The typical African parent asks why, as who? Who are you? You ask why. Because I said so, why Z? Why? You're mad to ask why.
You will be explaining. It's nothing bad. I mean, we get used to it. That's the parenting style. When they said you have come to a different culture, so you definitely have to learn how things are done. Otherwise, you get into trouble.
Yeah.
You understand? So you have to adapt, because all those mentality we have from Nigeria, over the years, you flush it out. So children have the tendency to become overconfident, and then they begin to look you in the eye to ask you why. They begin to look you in the eye to tell you why they are not going to do certain things, even if you ask them to do it. Just straightforward disobedient. And then everything is now in God's hands, God's grace. You have to keep praying for them. You have to keep telling them, keep guiding them. It's just by God's grace to raise children abroad. The same children that you left Nigeria because of, to come and raise them here, is by God's. You will get to a time that even you will be praying to God and say, "Oh Lord, please help me with these children. Don't let their lives be ruined," because you won't even know. You won't even be able to tell what to expect. You will now be praying. But some parents will see the warning signs and they will still ignore the warning signs. You understand? They will still ignore the warning signs. They will be walking around the clock, and that money, If they are not sending it to family, some are using it to buy a gele and go chain and the party accessories to go to party. And then before they know it, the police is knocking on their door and asking. The police is knocking on their door, asking. They are looking for one of your children. You'll be like, no, no, that's not my child. Or that can't be my child. Meanwhile, the child that is already going outside at night that you don't know of, that you
I've seen so many parents. Okay, let me take that back. I've seen situations where parents have such a bad relationship with their children that you can almost predict that this child is going to do things that this dad or mom will never know about unless the law was broken and they got caught because of the way that they interact already. You can tell that these kids cannot be controlled. They will hide things from these parents. In fact, they are in charge of the house. And it's really sad to watch. It's yeah.
you don't know of. Children keeping bad association. Even within the church, we heard about the one that involved that Nigerian pastor. That young people everywhere just getting. I don't want to talk about any pastor on my page, but you know what I'm talking about. It's all over the news. Go and Google it on YouTube. It's there. So you japa because of those children. You better be ready. You have to have that go bag, so that when you start seeing those warning signs, those signs that things are not okay with those children, and you know that you're already losing them. You're already losing them. You're already losing them. The reason is that you are working too much. You cannot not work because the bills have to be paid. Those children that you have to feed them. So you cannot not go to work. But when you're at work, you cannot be at home at the same time. You can't monitor everything. What they are watching on social media, what they are watching on their phones, you can only do so much. Then you will turn to God. But when you start to see the signs, don't leave it too late.
Yeah.
Don't leave it too late. The only for me I cannot do, like the parents that they said on YouTube recently that brought their children to Nigeria. I don't know if people heard the news, but not their children. The one on the news where the parents brought their son to Nigeria because of fear that he was associating himself in bad stuff, and dumped him in a boarding school, and then they left him there and ran back to the UK. Then the boy found his way to whether home office or something and got a lawyer, something,
What?
and sued the parents to the court. So in my own case, me, I will not do that one. I will not leave the child there. I will stay with the child.
Wait, if you're watching this, do you know of this story of parents when I left their child and ran away and the child sued them? I mean, I've heard of children suing their parents in America, in other countries. So it's like, oh, I didn't ask to be born, so you have to pay me for giving birth to me. And I think I saw one where the child was suing his dad that the dad was supposed to give him a present for his 18th birthday and didn't buy him a car. He took his dad to court. I didn't hear this story. That's crazy. Which lawyer will actually take that case? Where did the child take money to actually get a lawyer? Anyway.
That's why when I'm sleeping with one eye closed, one eye open, so that I can be monitoring my. And it's not by power, it's not by might, it's not because I am stupid, it's by God's grace. It's not because I am special in any way, it's just by the grace of God that we are raising children here. If you are fortunate enough to quickly come here and find what you are looking for, you think about those children and get ready to take them back once you see those signs. Get ready to Japada if you see those signs. Otherwise, the reason why you have come here, you won't be able to achieve that reason. Look at the one that happened in August, where some African boy went to kill some children in 4 children in Southport. That became a big thing in the country. We all suffered it. They turned on all of us and told us to leave the country.
Why?
Just because of a young boy.
Xenophobia.
Who the parents didn't know what he was up to. That boy has a father, has a mother. And then I kept asking myself, how did the parents miss the signs?
You know, it's similar to cognitive bias. There's this thing called, this is just a random example. It's called a Dunning-Kruger effect, where essentially people who know enough about a topic to not know what they don't know about the topic. So they think that they are smart but they don't realize that their level of smartness makes them more susceptible to not knowing the rest of the things that they need to know. In this case, it's so easy to watch and see somebody and be like, you didn't see the signs? Actually, the best example is like 2020 hindsight. It's easy to look back and say, oh, this is what happened, this is what this. But when it's happening in real time, it's so difficult to pick up on, unless, like she's saying, by God's grace, unless you're really paying attention and you're very discerning, it can pass you by. Man. I like how she gave the example, the father and mother were present. Because sometimes we like to say, oh, where was the father? Where was the this? Or this is a single mother house, single parent house. But I guess it's a classic case of you can have both parents and things still go wrong.
How did they miss the signs? How did they miss the signs? A young boy. How did they miss the signs? What kind of spirit came over that child? What happened that will make that child, you have a child that has that kind of heart and you don't even know anything about your child. Yeah? Is it that you are too busy? And yes, you will be busy because that's what abroad does to you. You will be busy. Is it that you can't pay attention to those children and then you leave your children to go and commit that kind of atrocities? We could not go out of our house for more than a week. Imagine, and I was heavily pregnant. Then when I was going to hospital, I was very scared. Very, very scared. My children were stuck home all through summer because of the fear of going outside as immigrants. Because they were attacking immigrants. They were attacking us immigrants. We couldn't even go to the park across the road. We had to stay inside.
That's crazy.
Because some mother and some father failed in their duties. Run after work. Everybody wants to live abroad. Abroad is good. It's not like it's not good. You get the facilities. And I'm not saying that everybody should go. If you enjoy it, but please, look after your children. Teach them good manners. It is hard because I have teenagers in my house and I know how hard it is. My children too, they will want to, you are the one that you'll be encouraging them, you'll be talking to them. Because I educate them about the word of God. I talk to them. I tell them why they can't talk to elderly people like this, why they can't do this, why they can't do that. And over the next few months now, I want to be telling them now about Nigeria. So especially the last three I'm picking, but the first two, they will be coming. So they need to be educated about Nigeria. They need to know the basics. They need to know about the Nigerian police, for example. I don't need to talk too much, what I'm talking about. They need to know about Nigerian police. For example, the one that is wearing dreads, my boy who is on dreads, I've told him, in Nigeria, police people frown at this kind of hair. When they see this kind of hair on your head, they equal it to crime. Then they see dreads on a young person's head. You have given them the ticket to harass you.
That's the thing. Different cultures have different norms, and it's very important for people to know how to navigate those norms. I think what she's doing with her kids is great because you can just go there and say, no, my dreads are clean, I'm okay, I'll not look for trouble. Just the way you look, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you appear in a room, people would make judgments on that. And in an environment where they can make those judgments and they can also execute judgment, you don't want to be in that kind of environment.
They say dress the way you want to be addressed. So I remember that from growing up, because my brother that was just going to go and buy something from the shop near the house. He just went outside to go and buy something. I remember that from when I was young. He just went outside to go and grab something from the shop next door. And the next thing, he was ringing us from police station that they carried him. As he was just by the roadside buying something, they carried him. They said he should call somebody to come and bail him with money. What happened? Then I went there. Do you know what they said? They said they found him somewhere like miles away. That's where they arrested him among people who are smoking joint. What? Somebody that they picked near the house. We all saw him when he just went outside to go and buy something. And the next thing, they've already carried him to the police station. Said they now lied where they went to go and pick him from. Somewhere.
Sure.
And we had to go and be paying money.
So we
had to go and pay to bring him back. So
problem just meets you early in the morning for no reason. Can you imagine how people live in Nigeria and Cameroon where at any given moment your life can just change like that? What if there's no money to go and bail him out now? What happens?
So Unfortunately, I know when people are saying that Nigeria, so that's from my own childhood memory. So I know that Nigeria is still like that, and even worse from what people are saying. But God will help us. God will help us. Nigeria is still our home, despite all of these things. So God will help us, because at the end of the day, that's where we are from. That is where we are from. I want my children to know home, because they need to understand that. They need to understand that part of life. Abroad too, it's not like it's easy, but God is helping us. They can't just have it smooth. They need to understand that. They need to see the balance of life. They need to see both sides.
I think it's important for children, immigrant children, to travel, because I like the way she's presenting it. She's giving me some different perspective. I've often been on the side that, hey, children are born here, they're going to live here, this is their home now. But there's you who wasn't born here, you have culture and history that I think your children would like to know. I would love to know where my great grandfather was, what he was doing, how his life was, what he did. I would like to know that. And I think taking the kids back to where you were gives them perspective. Spending time and seeing, so that when you tell certain stories, they even have an idea of what you're talking about. They have an imagery of what you're trying to describe. That way, it's not so far fetched from them. Because, for example, if you tell somebody that, hey, we don't have washing machines in Cameroon, you have to wash clothes with your hand, they're like, what? How is that impossible? Here, you just take all the things and put them inside the machine and press a button and it washes. In Cameroon, you have to steep the clothes in Omo, you wash it, you find water, you rinse it, you dry it. If it rains, you take it off and go and put it somewhere. When the sun comes back, you put it back. If it's wet, you dry it on the doors in the house. You set ropes. Man, it's a very different environment. You cannot describe that with words and somebody can actually understand. They have to live it. And I think that children who are able to do that, when they come back, they have a different respect for the struggle that the parents went through. And I think they gain a new level of understanding of, I see why my dad or my mom is the way she is, So yeah, I agree. I think it's important.
They need to see both sides, so that one thing, at least one for one, they can appreciate what God did in their lives. They can appreciate that. Even it's for them to just say, thank you, Lord, for giving me this opportunity. That is enough. Be ready to take that sacrifice to go back. If you have to go back because of your children, why won't you go back? So the next content you guys should look out for, I am going to be unboxing. So we are going to do lighter things over the next few contents. Things like family games. There's one thing I am guilty of. I am those parents who didn't bother to kind of teach my children. We speak Yoruba in the house. So we speak Yoruba. We are speaking Yoruba. But the ones I brought from Nigeria, especially my first one, she still understands because we were speaking it in Nigeria before we came. But the mistake we made was we did not continue. So we speak Yoruba between my husband and I. But because we don't speak it to them, they don't really understand it. But the first one still understands when you speak, but she doesn't know how to speak it anymore. She's
continue.
lost it.
You should
so
continue.
All of them now, and that's okay. As our 1 year project now that we are, our 1 year 2025 plan to prepare for, Nigeria, let us start learning the little things that we can learn in Yoruba language, so that at least you learn the language a little bit.
That's wonderful.
So over the next few weeks, we are going to be doing family games that involve them learning the language, then learning some of our culture, some of our cultural things that we do in Nigeria. I will not let the cat out of the box. There will be family games, there will be fun things. Don't forget, this is a family channel, so we'll be mixing into family channel. We'll be talking about family stuff, games, anything that is just Nigeria. Because this house now, I want to bring that Nigerian vibe, even Nigerian cooking, egusi soup, okra soup, all those things that they don't like to eat. My children don't like Nigerian food. It's so fight. When we want to cook Nigerian food like this, they will protest. They will protest. It's so burger, pizza. They don't like Nigerian food. So we want to start, maybe if they get involved in cooking all these kind of foods, they will have interest in eating them. So look out for those kind of contents coming up over the next few weeks, just to lighten up the mood. We want to have fun. And then in our group chat, that chat, and let me just use the opportunity to leave this out there. I want that group chat, that WhatsApp group, to be like a therapeutic group.
I'm going to stop here and probably continue. Hey, that was a nice video. I think it was chill. It was way less. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess I came in with the preconception that was going to be one of those difficult, tough, hard-hitting videos. I think it was honestly pretty light-hearted, but more of like, I guess I like her spirit. She's very hopeful, which, hey, I like hopeful people. And she's very aware. We have similar values. So, hey, I like the video. Thank you for sharing your story, ma'am. Thank you for inviting us in your experience and giving us the opportunity. Akomolafe family channel. I'm going to subscribe and watch the next videos. But yeah, the reaction is done. I'm going to leave a link to the video in the description. You can go ahead and watch the video. You can go ahead and subscribe. And so, what do I think about the whole thing? From the get-go, the idea of having a plan is very wonderful. I think having a plan is important. When you travel, have a plan. Know what, have a 5-10 year plan. It doesn't mean that that you will accomplish all those things, but when you have something that you're working toward, you're much more likely to be able to adjust to what you need to do, right? You don't just jump in there and then just go without a plan. You wake up and 5-10 years have passed and then you have nothing to show for it. You can never measure your progress. That's one. Number two, be aware of your environment. Your environment is both the culture, the new country, but also your kids. Are they growing? Are they changing? Do you need to grow and change? Do you need to be with them? And number three is sharing your culture with the kids, making them understand where you came from, because that will give them perspective from where you're coming from when you speak, when you share things with them. I think those three things are the three key takeaways for me: is have a plan when you travel, be aware of your environment, share your culture with your kids. That's all I'll take from this. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the channel, please go ahead and subscribe and leave a link to a video that you would like me to react to. All right? I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.